Hello everyone. Today I will show you what is Mealy machine and what is More machine and how to convert a Mealy machine to a More machine and a More machine to a Mealy machine. So firstly the introduction. What is finite automata? Finite automata may have output corresponding to each transaction. There are two types of finite machines that generates output. The first is Mealy machine and the second is More machine. Now we will see Mealy machine. What is Mealy machine? A Mealy machine is a finite state automata which whose output depends on the present state as well as the present input. It can be described by six tuple q, sigma, o, delta, x, q0, where q is finite state and sigma is the finite state of symbol called the input alphabets. O is the finite set of symbols called the output alphabet, and delta is the input transition function where delta is equals to q into sigma, that gives us q into x, is the output transition function where x is q tends to o. Q naught is the initial state from where an input is processed. So here we will understand by the example. So firstly here we can see A. The arrow going inside the A means this state is the starting state, which is denoted by q0. Now we will see there are the two output from this A. Firstly this 0, firstly we give the input 0, then we reach from A to B. When we give the input 1 to A, then we reach from A to C. Similarly we can say from every state we can go to the other state on giving the input 0 or 1. Here q is equals to a, b, c and d, or we can say the set of a, b, c, d, and sigma is 0 and 1, and delta is the transition function which we will see in the coming slides. Now we will see the More machine. More machine is the finite state automata where output depends on only the present state. A More machine can be described by the six tuple, same like we have described the Mealy machine: q, sigma, o, delta, x and q0, where q is the finite set of a state, where sigma is the finite set of symbol called the input alphabet, and o is the finite set of symbols called the output alphabets, and delta is the input transition function. Delta is equals to q into sigma times to q into x is the output transition function. And here the same q naught is the initial state from where an input is processed. Now we will see an example of a More machine. This is the state diagram of More machine, and we can clearly see the first stage is the initial state or the starting state, and on giving the input 0 on the initial state we goes to another state, and same when we give the input 1 to the initial state, then we give go to another state. Now we will see the difference between the Mealy machine and the More machine. So first difference is output depend both upon present state and present input. We can clearly see from this. The present state is D and the present input is 0, and we get the x3 as the output for this 0 input, and same for the all state we get the output, which is not described here. Sorry. Now we will see another example of the Mealy machine, which will give us a better understanding. So here we can say the SI state when we give the input 0, then we get the output 0, and we move from the S1 state to S0 state. And same like here, when we are at SI state, when we give the input as 1, then we move to S1 and giving the output 0. And now we will see the Moore machine. Output depends only upon the present state, means that when we are at state A, then we will get a output lambda, and on giving the input 0, we will move from the state A to state B, and then we will get the output x1. And when we give the input A 1 on A, we will move to C and giving the output x2. Now the second difference is generally it has the fewer state than the Moore machine. Generally it has more state than the Mealy